Okay, so hello everybody and everywhere. And again, we are starting with just making ourselves comfortable. You don't actually need my request to make yourselves comfortable. You don't need my permission to make yourselves comfortable, no? In Russian, we have a saying which means something like, this is a holiday which is always with you. It means you are your own boss and you can, can make yourself happy anytime you like, without anyone's permission or following some rules, whatever. No. So there are many limitations in our life, but at least most times we can sit comfortably at least. I remember a few years ago, I gave a retreat in Germany, in Berlin. And it was like half Germans and half people who came from many different countries. But German people are usually very, very serious. Very serious, and everything is according to the rules. And like once in a while I would ask, say, I don't really know German rules, etc. That I would ask something like, is it allowed to sit comfortably in Germany? And then I would ask something like, I was talking about movies, and I say, by the way, is it allowed to go to movies in Germany? Yeah. And then I heard a report, some lady was very frustrated saying, but we finished with Nazism 70 years ago. Why is he asking all those things? Okay. So we just feel comfortable, enjoying how we are sitting, but having nothing to do. Everything is completed. You see, Dzogchen is a very nice teaching. Before we even started, everything is already completed. Yeah, very convenient. If you understand it correctly, of course.
Excuse me.
And then we just allow ourselves to apply the method of Guru Yoga. We just allow ourselves, we allow Guru Yoga to arise in our condition. So we don't need to maintain anything, to hold on to anything. We don't need to keep the presence of the white R. We just relax completely. And relaxation, relaxing, is not another action that we are applying. Because usually we are confused with our language, because in our language we have verbs that describe actions, but not all of the verbs describe actions. When we say it's snowing, there is no action there. There is a verb there, to snow, but there is no action. So also when we are saying, what are you doing? And I say, oh, I'm boiling water. When people are saying like this, I have an image like concentrating, like in a movie, and boiling water with their chi energy, boiling water, really. It's the kettle who is boiling the water, no? We are waiting for the water to be boiled. There is nothing we can do to boil the water. So with the relaxation, with relaxing, is the same. So when somebody says, like, now you relax, how do you feel when somebody is telling you, you relax? I personally feel furious. Yeah, when somebody is telling me, relax, I feel absolutely furious. Because there is no way to relax. I mean, like an action, you do something. Because if I could be relaxed, I would be relaxed already. So the principle of relaxation is based on awareness. The principle of relaxation is not based on action. And this is one of the key points for understanding the principle of the Dzogchen teaching. It is always based on knowledge, on awareness. It is never based on action. So when we say we do practice, and even we do mantra, mudra, visualization, dancing, singing, we do breathing exercises, yantra yoga, this is all secondary. This is not called doing the practice of Dzogchen, because it's never based on doing, it's never based on action, it's based on awareness, on wisdom, on knowledge, not on action. So relaxation is based as well on awareness. On awareness of what? It's based on the awareness of our tensions, how we create our tensions, because the tension is not a thing in itself. No? The tension is something that we create. No? Like we are thinking continuously about something, in this way we create tension, and our muscles get tense, etc. So the principle of relaxation is that we observe ourselves, we observe our condition, and we discover where we create tension. Yeah? With our mind, with our voice, with our body, where we create tension. And then as soon as we notice how we are creating tension, we can notice that this very awareness allows us to stop applying this tension. Tension, creating tension, is an action. So we recognize the problem is that we are not recognizing all the actions that we are applying, all the actions that we are performing at the moment. We are not recognizing that. We are not aware of that. It becomes a kind of mechanical, automatic, robotic. So we recognize where we are tensed, where we actively create tensions. And then, there is a very nice Chinese saying it's from Zen teaching. I love it very much. I mean, both Zen teaching and this saying I love very much. The saying is, this is a question, a kind of an enigma, and it's asking, who can untie a ribbon with a bell on the neck of a tiger? Yeah. So it means a tiger has a ribbon around his neck with a bell. You know, Chinese people, they like aesthetics very much. It could be just a ribbon, but they put a bell there because it's nicer. Yeah, the meaning doesn't change, but it's nicer with the bell, a tiger with the bell. Yeah. So who can untie the ribbon with the bell from the neck of a tiger? Who? Yeah, and the answer is the one who tied it up. This is the answer, no? I find this genius, absolutely. This is about our tensions. Who can release our tensions? The one who created them. Yeah. So we relax. Yeah. It means that we notice our tensions. And then when we notice, we are no longer blind. And then maybe we cannot release them immediately, but at least we are able not to maintain them continuously. Okay, so. Just notice where we are tight, where we create our tensions, how we create our tensions. And when we apply the method of Guru Yoga, we apply some tension, we apply some action, we apply some effort. Huh? And this is what we call meditation. We apply mental effort, we also apply physical effort, we apply our vocal effort to produce some result. What kind of result we are producing? We are producing sound, and we are producing the clarity. Yeah, the clarity of presence of this white R and 5-colored sphere. This is what we are producing. But then we are relaxing. It means we are releasing the effort we previously created. Yeah? But the clarity doesn't go away immediately. Of course, if we start to think about something, I mean, another action, applying another effort, thinking about something. If we become busy with something, then we lose this clarity. Yeah, mostly. We can learn to maintain it, but in general, we lose it. Yeah? But before we get busy with something else, before we get involved into some other activity, this clarity remains. Yeah? Like an aftertaste, it remains. So we apply and we relax. It means we no longer apply the effort, but we remain with the result of our previous effort. So first part is meditation, but then the most important part is contemplation. And in all practices which are related to Dzogchen, it's extremely important that it's not that we are doing automatically like robots. We are doing more and more and more, like quantity, expecting that it will transform into quality, yeah, like in Hegelian philosophy, yeah, or Marxist philosophy. So, of course, it will be transformed. For example, we get tired. This can be the result. Yeah? Or we can be pissed off with our practice. This also can be the result. Yeah, we are expecting to get enlightened, like repeating mantra on and on and on, and we are expecting to get enlightened, but we are receiving being pissed off. Yeah, for example. Yeah. Sometimes it's like this, not always, but sometimes it's like this. So, but in Dzogchen teaching, it's important that we apply some effort. We can apply. Sometimes it's important, it's valuable, but then we relax. We stop. And the most interesting things happen when we stop applying our efforts. And we are just present, and we are discovering what's happening, and we are discovering something about ourselves. Okay, so let's apply the method of Guru Yoga this way. So whatever practice we are going to do today, we are going to apply this principle of alternating meditation and contemplation. It means applying effort, action, and being totally relaxed. But when we say we are totally relaxed, it doesn't mean that we are totally relaxed like when we are asleep. No. It means that we are relaxed, but with presence, with awareness. Yeah. So this is the principle. And the first practice we do today, it's called the Semzin of Hum, which is chasing thoughts or following thoughts. Yeah. And there are different ways to do this practice, and I explain a very, very simple way. And Semzin, the word Semzin, this is a Tibetan word, and Sem means mind, and Zin means to hold. It means that we control our mind a specific way. And in general, the main characteristics of all Semzin practices, which are numerous in the Dzogchen teaching, the main characteristic is that Semzins usually unify two main aspects of meditation. So if you studied Buddhist meditation in whatever school, whatever teaching, like Theravada, for example, they have samatha and vipassana. Yeah. So now the word vipassana is more famous, but it doesn't come without samatha. Samatha means like calm state. Vipassana means like insight into reality of phenomena. Yeah. And in Sanskrit, it is shamatha and vipassana, the same. So if you study, for example, Chinese Buddhism, there is a classic treatise from the 6th century, which is called Mohe Jiguan, and it means like big treatise on shamatha and vipassana. This is based on sutra teachings, Mahayana sutras. Then also in Vajrayana teaching, there are aspects of shamatha and vipassana, and also in Dzogchen. And shamatha is the state of calm state. It's pretty much the same, more or less the same. Sometimes there is a difference, like for example, in Dzogchen teaching, like I explained already these days, when we say shamatha or calm state, it means that we still can have thoughts. Yeah. Sometimes they say that shamatha means that we have no thoughts. But in the Dzogchen teaching, we are also using another word. We're using the word nepa, which means literally calm state, calm. And it means that even though we might have thoughts, but we are not disturbed by these thoughts. We are not distracted by these thoughts. So it means we are transcending thoughts instead of eliminating them. Yeah. So this is one aspect. And another aspect is vipassana, or insight. And this can mean different things. Like, for example, in the context of Hinayana teachings, like Theravada teachings, it can mean that we discover the principle of non-self, or impermanence, or suffering related to all phenomena. And in the context of Mahayana, vipassana means that we discover the emptiness of all phenomena, that all phenomena just appear but do not really exist. And the same, more or less the same, we have in Vajrayana, general Vajrayana. But in Dzogchen teaching, the principle of vipassana, or in Tibetan it is Lhagtong, the principle of vipassana is that the movement itself is the wisdom. So it's not that through some kind of movement, some kind of phenomena, we recognize some wisdom, but the movement itself is the wisdom, because what is moving? Yeah, it's our potentiality is moving. It's our awareness is moving, because there is no separate phenomena. There is nothing external there. So the very fact of movement, any kind of movement, like movement, visual movement, a sound, a smell, all kinds of movement, emotion, a thought, is disclosing the real nature, is disclosing the wisdom. Yeah. So this is the principle. And usually in Samzin practices of Dzogchen teaching, these two things, shamatha and vipassana, or shine and lhagtong in Tibetan, they come together like in one package. Yeah. So the first practice that that we do is called hum, the sound of hum, which is following thoughts. And how we apply it. So first of all, we try to pronounce hum, and like we did yesterday with ah, we pronounce hum, and we can feel this reverberation. We can feel it resounding in all our body, everywhere, in our head, in our buttocks, in our toes, everywhere it can resound. So let's try just to feel the taste of hum. So, and when we hear this hum, from where do we hear it? Yeah. It's not that we hear it through our ears. Of course, when somebody else is sounding hum, that mainly we hear through our ears. But when we are sounding hum ourselves, we hear it everywhere. It's everywhere. We perceive it with all our body. So it's everywhere. It's all pervasive. So it's not just we are pronouncing hum from here, like hum, 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 hum. Yeah, this miserable hum. Yeah, we don't need miserable hum. We need total hum. Total humization of all the universe. Russians can get the flavors here. And actually, I'm in Amsterdam now, physically in Amsterdam, and I have 7 people in attendance here in the Gompa in Randroling, and 1 is Dutch, yes. 1 is Italian, 1 is Hungarian, and 4 are Russians. So this invasion has already started. Yeah. Okay. So we start the humification. And how we do it, how we apply it. First of all, we are noticing what's happening. And what's happening in our minds, yeah? What kind, we have thoughts, we notice thoughts. And usually we get distracted with the thought. So a thought which is arising in our condition is attracting our attention and we are collapsing into this thought. Yeah. So this is what's happening. But here in this practice, as soon as we notice a thought, we pronounce home. And this thought is absorbed by this home. We don't need to do any special action of absorption. No, there is no this action. This is what happens. Yeah, this is just a metaphoric expression what's happening. But we pronounce home, and we discover that the energy of this thought is integrated with the sound of home, and we feel presence. So we don't feel collapsed into the thought. We feel presence, the presence of this energy, the presence of sound. Yeah? And every time a thought is arising, we integrate it with the sound of home. You don't need to sound it very loudly. Yeah, doesn't help. Yeah? Sometimes there are practices that we are doing and they say that we shout, and people try to shout as much as possible, but it doesn't really help because it's more the intensity than the volume. Yeah, we don't need to create much volume. Yeah, we need energy. We don't need volume. We don't need anyone get deaf. Yeah. So we just pronounce home, but this is home filled with energy. We are filled with energy of this home, and this home is not different from ourselves, because home is not something which is coming from our mouth. No? Home is something that we feel in all totality of our body, voice, and mind. This is home. Yeah, and the thought which is arising is integrated with this presence of sound. Okay, let's try it. So you apply it in your own rhythm. You don't try to mimic me, to follow me, because you have thoughts arising in your own rhythm, not in my rhythm. So just observe your condition and follow your condition, not my guidance. Okay. And then we just relax. Then we apply again. And then later we relax again. And we relax again. And what if we have strong distracting thoughts that even while we are sounding home, but we still have another thoughts arising? Then we just intensify our home. It's like making a new home without interruption, like home, 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 home. So something like this. then even you are sounding home and the thought is arising and it doesn't go away with your weakening home. Yeah. So you make another home, intensify it. And in this way integrate. Okay. Let's try again. And we relax again. Okay. So how do you feel with this practice? How do you feel? What do you feel when you no longer pronounce home? How is your experience? Okay, please share.
I still can integrate the thought is together with the home.
Yeah. So even you are not pronouncing home, but it is still arising. Yeah, good. Anyone else here in the audience?
I just came a thought, but I didn't start it to follow. So just came and then, okay, that's it.
Ah, okay, good.
But I doesn't start it to, the stream doesn't start it.
Yeah, good. This is calm state. This is calm state. We don't need to spend like months in solitary retreat to have the experience of the calm state. Yeah, this is something something special about these methods. Yeah. It doesn't mean that this calm state is going to stay with us forever. No, but you know, I'm sure that many of you would go to different kinds of retreat, like Zen retreat, Vipassana retreat, etc. And then you have very deep experience there. But then how long does it take for you to lose this experience in your ordinary life? Yeah. How long? 1 day? No? 3 days. Maybe if you don't have to go to work immediately, maybe it will last for 3, 4, 5 days. Maybe no more than 1 week. Yeah, maybe for some rare, exceptional, absolutely exceptional people, it can last longer. Yeah, but most people lose it immediately. Yeah. I remember when I was, the first time I was in Zen retreat, it was the first Zen retreat in post-Soviet area. And I was translating there. And I remember when this retreat finished, it was just 5 days retreat, but I had a very strong feeling of illusoriness of everything happening, very strong feeling, till I got home from that retreat. That was it. You see. So that's why people who we call practitioners, yogin, they stay in solitary retreat forever. Some of them even stay in the dark retreat forever, yeah, if they have this kind of possibility. Yeah, but if you don't have this possibility, then what we do? We can apply these methods and we can have continuously this experience of calm state again and again and again. And then it becomes the holiday which is always with you. Yeah. It doesn't mean it lasts always, but whenever you want, whenever you have an idea, you can apply some methods. You can sound home, but it's not necessary. It's enough you just notice your thoughts. You discover your thoughts, and then you discover, but where are my thoughts? From where am I looking at these thoughts? And immediately you discover this space, this dimension that is never wavering, that is never changing, which is like originally calm. Yeah? Originally pure. Yeah, not contaminated by any thought, not contaminated by any emotion. Yeah, in Dzogchen teaching, this aspect of our state we call kadak, or primordial purity. And dak means pure. Ka is the first letter of the Tibetan alphabet. So some translators, and I like very much their translation, they translate it as alpha purity into English language. Yeah, alpha purity. I find it really tasty translation. Yeah, really good. Alpha purity. It's up to the point because like alpha and omega. Yeah, and omicron in between. Yeah. So if Jesus would have come nowadays, he would be saying, I'm alpha and omega and also omicron. I know that in the end they will expel me from everywhere. Okay. So, okay. Anyone who's on Zoom, if you want to share your experience, please, you're welcome. Because it's important that we have experience. Yeah, it's important that when we are doing practice, it's important that we have an experience. And sometimes we have an idea, oh, I did this practice for 1 month, I still don't have an experience. So maybe if I do it for 3 years, I have an experience. Yeah, but maybe these 3 years, they will never happen. Yeah. In Dzogchen teaching, it's not like this. In Dzogchen teaching, we have experience quite fast, quite often. It's not very stable, but this is already an experience. And we have the key, we have the method how to repeat this experience. Yeah. But it's important that we have this experience. And also when we have this experience, it's important that we also share. It doesn't mean you post on Facebook immediately, you had this experience. No. But with other practitioners, it's important because also then you can discover that it's the same experience, but this experience can be manifold. It can have different shapes. It can have different flavors because we are all individual. So maybe you can have an experience of floating in the air, like a bird, like a Garuda, yeah, like an eagle. We can have an experience in some practices. We can have this experience of floating in the air. It doesn't mean we are like floating literally, but we have this feeling, yeah. And another person can have a feeling that he floating on waters, on ocean, on the surface of ocean. And we might think this is a different experience, but it is not. It just means that for one person, the air element is predominant, and for another person, the water element is predominant. Yeah. So it's different, but the experience, the essence of the experience is the same. So that's why, and I know, I heard many times my teacher, Chogyal Namkha Norbu, oftentimes he was saying, when you get together, practitioners, you share your experience, you discuss your experience, but mostly people then they don't want to share their experiences. Why? Because we have a tendency to judge each other. Yeah. And when our experience is judged, we don't feel nice when our experience is judged, because there is always some kind of expert who would say, no, your experience is wrong. No, your experience, this is totally wrong. No, but how is right? Well, you need to know how it's right. Okay. And of course, in this way, nobody wants to share experience, but the experience is never wrong. Understanding can be wrong. Experience can never be wrong, because experience is something unique that happens. Yeah, maybe you use wrong words to express your experience, and then you cannot convey it, you cannot share it. Yeah, words can be wrong. Also, you can have wrong understanding what happened to you. You have certain experience, meditation experience or practice, and then you feel, oh, I'm enlightened. Yeah, this is wrong. Yeah. Maybe it's right also, but in most cases it's wrong. Yeah. This is wrong, but the very experience that we have is just experience. I mean, this is what is happening to us. And there is nothing wrong in what is happening to us. Okay, so please, if you want, if anyone wants to share, I let you turn on your mic and please share. I see one hand, Mai, please.
Yeah, hi. Visamzin, I used to do it a lot and I haven't done for a while because at first I was noticing that the thoughts that are rising was all the time. So when I did it, it was like hum all the time.
Yeah,
and
like
I got tired.
Yeah, Kalashnikov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done it probably for like 2 years, and doing it right now, I've noticed that my thoughts are rising slower and slower. And the fact that you said to stop and relax was very helpful, because when we stop after a while of doing the homes, it feels really good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at one point, even though I'm doing the homes and the thoughts are rising, sometimes I can catch the thoughts rising. Sometimes it was too late. The thoughts has already risen. But sometimes I even catch just maybe the impulse of a thoughts, which I call kind of like a tension, something that is kind of like strong, but at the same time not strong, that is noticeable, kind of like a sensation, but not really a sensation. It's maybe something, the 3 doors that is catching it. And then the whom kind of cut it instead of, like being kind of like a bulgi bulga enveloping the thoughts.
Yeah. So it's like a small bubble that you do not let it arise and become a vision, but it is something happening, and you notice very soon, and it liberates. With whom it liberates.
Well, if I go with the images that you're giving me, it's more like the surface is like a calm piece of water, and there's like some tremor.
Yes.
And when you catch it, the tremor, it's like pop. It's kind of like not even pop. It's just like not even rising.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, every time, losing energy, I've noticed that sometimes losing energy is a lot of when your mind is grasping at something. But if you stay, like the exercises that you told us, with walking and looking at little short span of being aware, it really helps. And the dopamine and the satisfaction is really helpful also. And at one point, I always reach a state where everything becomes unreal. There's light and clarity, very bright, etc. It's always the same. But at one point, I was like, I had an identity crisis, because even though I'm that stage that is very known to me now, it was very clear this instance that, what is this? And like the thing that is noticing is like, what it is. It's not even what am I. It's just like so something was totally there but lost at the same times, with nothing to hold on. That was my experience.
Yeah, good. So if you have this kind of experience, there's notice, but who is experiencing this? Who is present in this experience? Just this question. And then you have no identity. Because who is that? It's not a man, it's not a woman. Yeah. It's not old, it's not young. This presence, this awareness, it has no characteristic whatsoever. Like we can say it's white or black, it's big or small, it's just there. And it's us. It's basically us. Our state. This is our state. Good. Thank you, Mike. Okay. Robert, please.
Yeah, I noticed that right after the hums, it seems like the clarity became more intense and it's kind of punctuated with the inner sound. And when I noticed the inner sound, it just shut down and thoughts began to arise again.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are signals, it seems.
Yeah. So even no longer you pronounce hum, but you have this hum arising by itself. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can see there is no effort there. No effort whatsoever, and it's liberating, and it's liberating, and it's liberating. Yeah.
And then you notice it and it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's not when you notice it, it's gone. It's when you direct your attention to it, then it's gone.
Yeah.
If you are just noticing in the presence of these, maybe it's gone, maybe not. But the best way to make it be gone is to focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because this is also one of the most important things in Dzogchen teaching. And not only in Dzogchen teaching, actually it is explained also in Sutra teaching. There is an explanation which is called 3 gates of liberation. And the second gate, well, the first one is emptiness. The third one is wishlessness. But the middle one is, sometimes it's translated as signlessness, animita or pranihita in Sanskrit. And the meaning of that is that you cannot make it an object.
Mm.
And if you ask me, what is that you cannot make an object? I would say it. Yeah, that thing. You cannot make it an object. So it means we cannot objectify our condition. Yeah. Because what's the difference between mind, which is noticing thoughts, and mind, which is producing thoughts? Is this the same mind or not?
Mm.
Yeah. And this is the kind of the main question in contemplative science. And this is not a question that we investigate, like make a report, explore, etc. But this is a question that arises and we can discover the answer. And it's important that we do not collapse into this thinking mode, being focused on our experience, because then this experience collapses. Yeah, but sometimes we are using this. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you, Robert. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to do something else now, but since we came to this point, then we can apply this method, which is a very characteristic method of Shine or calm state in the Dzogchen teaching. And it means that if you have a thought, we do exactly what's wrong. Yeah. And what is wrong? Focusing. So we are focusing on this thought, and this thought disappears. But the important thing is that we do not remain focused. Yeah. But we focus, it requires effort. Yeah? It requires effort when we focus. And as soon as the thought disappears, we relax. So then a thought is arising again, and we concentrate on a thought. Like Chogyal Namkha Norbu would use an expression, we look sharply into the face of this thought. Yeah. So we don't go into the discussion whether a thought has a face and other sides. But mostly we look at the ass of the thought, yeah? You know, the thought is gone and it's like the train we miss and say, ah, yeah? The thought is already there, yeah, no more. But we look sharply into the face of the thought, yeah? And the thought is gone when we concentrate on this, because thought is also an experience. So we concentrate, it's gone, but then we relax our effort. The effort we created for concentrating on thought, we relax, yeah? We tied this ribbon on the neck of a tiger. We've just done it, yeah? So before we forget how we did it, we untie, yeah? And we don't remain focused and concentration, yeah? Okay, so then again, a thought is appearing and we concentrate sharply on this thought and it disappears again. And when it disappears, we relax. It doesn't mean to say, okay, thought, I have to concentrate. Boom! It disappears. Aha, disappeared. Now relax. No, it's not like that. It doesn't work like that. It works like it already starts to disappear and you're already relaxing together with this thought. Yeah. And the example that is very good here is if, for example, if you ever did sailing. Once in my life I did sailing, but I had an experience. It means that you adjust your effort to the wind, to the power of the wind, precisely. The stronger is the wind, the stronger is your effort. When wind is not strong, then you don't need strong effort. So this is the same principle. Yeah. Okay. So let's try to do it. And this is not the whole method, but we do one by one. We learn it one by one. Okay. So we start with Guru Yoga, and then we relax, and then thoughts start appearing. And when a thought appears, we concentrate sharply on it, looking right into the face of this thought. We concentrate sharply, and then it is disappearing and we are relaxing. And we remain relaxed until the new thought arises. Okay. And now we relax. And just remain as we are without changing and modifying anything. Okay, so maybe you could notice, maybe not, but maybe you could notice that when we are relaxing, it's again like discovering this dimension. Then you have this dimension from collapsing into the thought to distancing from the thought. And then you discover the dimension where thoughts are arising. So it depends how long does it take for you to get this experience. Maybe you can get it from the first time. Maybe you need more time. And if you need more time, then there are some helpful hints. Why? Because if you apply this kind of concentration for a long time, then your energy can get disturbed. Why? Did you notice what happens to your breathing when you concentrate sharply? Yeah. What happens to your breathing? It interrupts. Interrupts, yeah. You know, I'm usually joking, what is the highest degree of concentration available to a sentient being, to a human, not sentient being, but to a human. When the highest degree of concentration is achieved for a human, yeah, it's when in the next room, two people are talking about you, mentioning your name, and this you can hear, but you cannot hear anything else, what they say about you. Yeah, then you achieve, and your breathing stops completely. Also, one of your ears becomes huge. So this is a kind of a fruit of samadhi. You have one huge ear. Yeah. Then you need to turn your head. That's, you know, Buddha has huge ears. They will expel me from everywhere. Okay, so what we do to avoid accumulating this kind of tension, yeah? Because if you interrupt breathing on and on and on, if you interrupt our breathing, then our energy becomes disturbed. And then we have agitation that we cannot control. This is how many people who are doing concentration practice end. They exert their energy to the degree they can no longer control it. It becomes wild, yeah? And people become nervous and agitated. So we need to balance this strong concentration. And how do we balance it? With the sound. And sound also implies breathing out. Yeah? It makes our concentration a little bit softer, a little bit more mild, but it doesn't allow us to accumulate tensions. Yeah? So we are balancing our effort. Yeah? We are not applying too much effort. So when we are concentrating like this, we can say, so a sound that doesn't require articulation. Yeah? The sound which doesn't require you moving your lips, moving your tongue, moving your teeth, like paba. No. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear, that was the thermos, or no, heater, water heater was making a sound. Yeah. So we do this. We concentrate, and at the same time we do. And in this way, we can balance this effort. And in this way, we don't allow our breathing to be blocked. So this is how we apply. Let's apply it this way. We start with Guru Yoga, with R, and then we apply this method. And in this method, as I said, the most important thing is we alternate concentration and relaxation, effort and relaxation. We alternate that. And then we find the proper balance. You know, how we find the proper balance? We go one side, too much. We go another side, too much. So we are moving between two sides, and then we find the proper balance. And nobody can tell us where the proper balance is. Even they give us a mathematical model of our body and say, this is your perfect balance, but it doesn't serve anything. No, it's useless because it's not related to our experience. But through our experience, we go one side, we go very present, to another side, we know what's changing, and we go here and there, and then we find the balance. Yeah, because there is a point of balance in between. And this is mathematically proven. This is called Weierstrass theorem in the calculus. Okay. And now we relax. So this practice, one cannot do it like an automaton. We cannot do it mechanically, just repeating. It doesn't make sense. We do this practice with the presence to what is happening. Not automatically, not like a robot, but we are noticing what is happening and we are constantly adjusting to what is happening. So we are always, we have this feedback, and we are always adjusting our practice, the intensity, the length, the pitch. We are always adjusting to what is happening. So in this way, we are finding the right balance. Cannot be mechanical. And it, because even if you pronounce R 1 million times, nothing's gonna really happen. Maybe just become professional in sounding R, and then you can give a masterclass how to pronounce R perfectly. No, monetize your skill, because otherwise, what you do with this skill, you can just monetize it on Instagram. So. Because people now monetize whatever, whatever they have a glimpse of, they immediately monetize it on Instagram. So, but when we do it with presence, then slowly, we also can discover that thoughts are different. And different, not in terms that this is the thought of my mother, this is the thought of my father, no. But in terms that some thoughts are strong and some thoughts are weak, And it means that if you discover some strongs are weak, it means that immediately you notice that this thought is not able to disturb your condition, not able. And it doesn't mean, this thought is not able to disturb my condition. This means it's already disturbed. No. But somehow, before judging very quickly, because like when you see a red color, or you see like this color, you know what this color is before you name it. Before you name it. So the first moment you see this color, you know what this color is. So in the same way, we see the thought and we know this thought is weak, and then we don't even need to bother to pronounce R. But then there is another thought and it is strong, and then we pronounce R. And then it becomes, then you discover that there is actually no separation between you and the thought. This thought is you. This is how you know the nature of this thought. This is how you know the nature of this thought, because this thought is you, is not something else. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. Also, the red color that we see is us. It's not the red color of my sweater or orange color or whatever, I don't know. There can be big discussion how you call this color, carrot. And maybe some designer said, no, this color is called AB12334. Who knows? But you know this color. Why? Because this color is not the color of my sweater. This color is the color that you see, it appears in your energy. This is how your energy manifests. And this is how you know it. So the same story with the thought, because this thought is not something else, is not something separate from you. That's why you know its nature as soon as it is arising. And then you don't even bother. If it is weak, you don't even bother to pronounce R. And it means that the calm state is developing in you. So, and so in this way, we develop this practice, and then we can just develop like deep calm state. And it's basically, it's not very different from what we did with whom. It's not very different. Basically, we discover the same principle. So first of all, we discover that this principle of not being disturbed by anything, the presence, which is not disturbed by anything, which is a calm state, but then we discover the nature of this anything, which is you, which is me, which is us, yeah, the nature of what is arising. Yeah. And I have a few jokes about this. First, I tell you the joke about the experience we can have when we are doing the hum practice, when we go really deep. Of course, this is not something that we get fast, like in 5 minutes. No, in 5 minutes, we can have a glimpse of this practice, yeah, the essence of this practice. But then, of course, if you do it longer, then experience becomes deeper and deeper. Its nature remains the same, but its intensity is increasing if we are not overdoing, of course. Yeah, so we need to be also moderate. And when we do, for example, hum, after some time, we can notice that that we cannot even pronounce hum. Yeah? That even our lips might be moving, but we cannot pronounce hum. And it means we went really deep, like deeper than this conceptual level of thinking. Yeah. And sometimes you can see, like in big cities, you can see people like, yogis, traveling yogis. For some reason, mainly they are around some big train stations, etc. And these yogis, sometimes they have a slightly blue color of the appearance of their faces. And then you come to this person and you ask how to get to the train station. And maybe if they have the first level of absorption, they say, oh. Yeah. But if they have a second level of absorption, they say, so it means they're really deep, yeah, with their hum practice, yeah. So, and the joke I wanted to say is a very old Soviet joke from Soviet time. Then a policeman on a street is observing what's happening. If everything is okay, then he sees that in front of a big fish store with a big aquarium in the window. No, there are many fish in this aquarium. And there is a man standing there, and he is standing for 1 hour, for 2 hours, he is standing there. And the policeman thinks that something is wrong with this man. Maybe he is intent on robbing this shop of fish. And maybe there is some special golden fish, you know. And he comes to this person and says, sir, I'm officer, whatever, Ivanov. This is Soviet, so. And what are you doing here? I said, officer, you know, I'm checking one scientific theory. What theory? The theory that an intellect of a human is stronger than an intellect of a fish. How you do this? But you look, when I concentrate my gaze to the left, the fish goes to the left. And when I concentrate my gaze to the right, then you see fish goes to the right. Oh, yes, really, it happens like this. Yeah, you can also try. Okay, so the policeman starts to try to hypnotize the fish, and the man goes away. And policeman is doing like standing there for 1 hour, for an hour and a half. A very interesting thing. This is a scientific experiment. Then a little kid, a boy, is coming to policeman and say, sir, would you please tell me how to go to the public library? And then he... So this is more or less what we have when we practice this hum for a long time. Also with yeah, you don't want to talk. Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, it's this practice is not good for Italians, no. If you don't talk, how can you be? Okay. They will not allow me to Italy anymore.
The place to sleep tonight.
Okay, so two things. One thing is that we discover this dimension where phenomena manifest, everything manifests. And the second thing, we discover that whatever manifests is not separate from us, is ourselves, is what we call it our own energy, but it doesn't mean, oh, we have some energy there and it manifests and it's us. No, I have another joke about this, and maybe I will be forgiven by Italians for this joke. So it's winter now, but this is a spring joke. So somewhere there is spring, yeah. I mean, like in Australia, yeah, in Argentina, it is spring. So in spring, and there are spring rains, and then in the spring rains, after the rain, the worms pop up from the ground. You know, these very nice, beautiful, dark red color, long worms. They appear from the ground. So after the rain, a worm appears from the ground, and you remember this is spring, so he has some interest. So this worm is looking around, then he sees that there is another worm next to him also appearing from the ground, and says, ah, hello, how are you? Let's fuck. Idiot, I'm your tail. So this is our condition. We see our own tail and we want to fuck it. Yeah. Or eat it. Or cut it off. Or put it in prison. Or marry it. Yeah. Or receive teachings from it. Or give it money. Yeah. Or get money from it. From our own tail. Yeah. From ourselves. So this is the second thing that we are discovering. Ah, yeah, I see naked men are running again behind you. Great. Yeah, it is a good sign. It is an ominous, it is always ominous. Yeah. When maybe you don't have gallery view, I do have gallery view, so I see whatever is happening. Yeah, and it's always a good ominous sign. It's like a rainbow. Yeah, when a naked man is passing by then it's like a rainbow. You know, after retreats, people say, oh, there is a rainbow. There's such a good sign for this retreat. Yeah, but ominous things can be different. So I think this is like the most beautiful ominous thing. But you have to be very attentive. It's not a rainbow that is remaining all the time. It's just running. Yeah. Some of you now switch to gallery view. It's too late, you know. It's like a thought that is already far away when you are trying to catch it. Okay. So let's try to apply this method with R once again, and we add one more thing. One more thing we add. When we exhale with R, and we exhale very gently, we exhale without much effort, we just remain in this emptiness for a moment. Do not inhale immediately. Exhale. And do not inhale immediately. Don't hold your breath. Yeah, we are not applying Wim Hof method at the moment, no. Which is actually quite good. Yeah, but we are not applying it. applying it right now. But just relaxing, like being suspended. It's like a pendulum goes one way till the extreme point, and for a moment is suspended in the air. Yeah. So we exhale and we remain suspended just for a moment. And then we allow our body to breathe in again. Yeah. So in this way, we can make our experience of emptiness more intense, more acute. Yeah. Okay, let's try it. Starting with the Guru Yoga. And we relax. And now, from this state, try to move. Just look around from this state. Look around, slowly, slowly, gently, gently, as if you were learning from the beginning to move. Move your hands, move your eyes. So learn to move from the state of contemplation. So this is how we develop the state of contemplation, through movement. Yeah, particularly people who are doing Vajra dance. Yeah. So it's not just movement, but first there should be the base of contemplation, and then we develop it through movement. Okay, so we make a pause for the moment. And so we make ourselves comfortable. Just having nothing to do, everything is completed. So abandon the disease of an effort. Remain natural as you are, and this is a contemplation. Okay, so now we apply one more Samzin, and it is called the Samzin of impermanence. And in general, we know impermanence that like everything is changing, how we apply this practice of impermanence in general Buddhist teachings. Then we notice something, and we notice that it is changing, so it is impermanent, it is arising, it is ceasing, etc. And then we discover that everything is impermanent because we consider things as permanent, and this is how our mind is fooling us. And I can give a simple example how our minds, how the mind is fooling us. Like, for example, when you're walking on street, yeah, when you're walking on street and you see trees, you see buildings, for example, like monuments, then when you're walking, how do you see this? Do you see that it is buildings who are standing and you are walking? Or it is that you are still and buildings are moving? How we consider it? We consider it the first way. We consider that we are moving among immovables. Yeah, it's called immovable this way. Yeah, buildings, immobilier, immobilien in German. Yeah. I'm watching websites in different countries. This way I know the names for these. And in English, it's called reality. So it's reality, basically. Yeah, all these buildings, they're not moving. We are moving between them, among them. Yeah, we are moving in the middle of them. But is it really how we see them? No. If you want to know how we see them, the simplest way, you take a GoPro camera, or even not GoPro camera, you just stick your telephone on your chest and make video when you are moving onto your forehead. Yeah, and then you see how it is. Yeah, you remember this movie? It was maybe 20 or 25 years ago, The Witch from Blair. And it was a kind of a revolution in movies because they made it from the camera which was moving, not stable. But this is exactly how we see things. Yeah, like everything is moving. Like every step we make, what we see, it means that with every step, the building in front of us is jumping with every step. And when we rotate, the room around us is rotating. Yeah. Yeah, it's the room rotating. This is how we see. Yeah? But this is not how we understand the reality, what we see, our perception. So it means that our mind is stronger. Our mind is stronger because our mind is making calculations. So this is the easy way to process the information. Yeah? To have it that I mean, in terms of calculation, it's much easier to calculate one moving thing in between many unmoving things. Yeah, but we see is one thing which is not moving, which is us, and all the rest is moving. And for calculations, it's very difficult. Yeah, that's why our mind is overpowering our visual perception. I gave you another example, I think yesterday, yeah? When we see somebody on a screen, we feel that the sound is coming from the lips of this person when it is not, yeah? So this is another example how we are fooled by the mind, and this is called illusion, yeah? And another illusion is permanence of things, yeah? Like, for example, say, oh, this person is such and such and such, yeah? And of course, to save ourselves time for not making all possible calculations, we can do like this. But in real sense, this person is different, yeah? And maybe this moment, this person is not like that, like what we think. And when we have an idea of a person, okay, think of your friend. Think of your friend. And you have an idea of your friend. But what is your friend dressed like? You have an idea what your friend is dressed like, general idea. But at this moment, your friend can be naked. Yeah. At this moment, your friend can be dressed in Japanese kimono, yeah, for example. Or maybe he is visiting some place and he's dressed in all this leather and spikes and high heels and whatever, yeah. But you don't imagine your friend to be this way, yeah. You imagine your friend to be like more habitual way. So, but we have this idea. So it means impermanence, yeah. The things are not permanent, not fixed and changing all the time. And in general, when we are dealing with impermanence, sometimes we are analyzing. I gave an example of analysis now, yeah? So things are changing and intellectually we understand. This is one way of experiencing impermanence, but this is more intellectual. And then there is another way when we are observing how things are changing. Yeah? Like, for example, in Zen tradition, in Chan tradition, it's very common that we observe, for example, the river, floating river. Yeah? So this is also a kind of sign of impermanence, or a fire, or maybe clouds in the sky, because this is another example of impermanence, because clouds are always changing their shape. Yeah. And you know, there is a kind of Russian proverb saying that there are three things that you can watch forever, for eternity: water, fire, and someone else working. So this is a kind of Russian traditional meditation. So this is another way to observe impermanence. Yeah. But in Dzogchen, we have a semzin of impermanence. And the semzin of impermanence means that it's not that we are like concentrating, collapsing into one thing and noticing how impermanent it is, or like some kind of range of things like clouds or waves or whatever, yeah? But everything. So consider everything and notice that everything is changing all the time, like that. Even you have thoughts, but this is your mind changing. Everything at the same time is changing without interruption everywhere. So everything, not one by one, everything, but everything. So remain for some time in this recognition of impermanence as everything is changing. And now release the effort in the presence of everything changing. And who's noticing this present? Who's noticing this change? And if you notice you're getting distracted and carried away by thoughts, apply this principle of impermanence again and notice how everything is changing. And then release the effort of observing and just remain in this presence, noticing who is knowing this changing, who is knowing this presence. So we alternate in this way, applying effort for recognizing everything changing, maintaining this presence for some time with an effort artificially, but then relaxing, allowing this presence to continue by itself, and noticing who is in this presence, who is observing this impermanence. Who is this impermanence? Okay. Good. So if anyone wants to share your experience, what kind of experience you had when you were observing this total impermanence?
Well, when there is a lot of effort to focus on the activity, the activity becomes so strong, the impermanence, so the continuous change, that the space becomes very small, very tiny. And this activity, this impermanence multiplies across the entire universe. And when I relax on the other end, then time seems to become eternal. And space also becomes wide. So it's how time and space play with each other.
Could you hear online what Maria Grazia was saying? Could you hear? No. Okay. Some, not so much. Okay, but you could hear. Okay, good. Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else here in the audience?
Yes.
Just a second, Pascal, but
Yes.
maybe somebody here in the audience wants.
Yes, when I just made an
Yeah.
effort.
Could you please say a little bit louder than people
Yes,
can
so
hear?
my feeling was when I stopped with to focusing and just let the thing go, I just see further that everything is like a changing. So when the effort is stopped, the process is not stopped, it continues.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Okay, Pascal, please.
Yes, Igor, maybe we could change your sentence. Who is looking? Nobody is looking.
Yeah,
There's just a presence.
yeah,
Just a question of terms, okay?
yeah. But that was a question: who is looking? And nobody is looking. No.
Of course. Thank you.
Presence instead of presence. No. We can call ourselves prisoners. Yeah. In general, we're all prisoners. Yeah, but okay, good. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, Maggie. Please.
When I was like concentrating on this impermanence, like outside, that I tried to imagine the nature, the people, the buildings around me, it came closer and closer to the place where I sit. And it took me also. So I was gone.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, good. We don't need to imagine anything because we are dealing with our experience.
Yeah.
If you don't see buildings and people, you don't need to imagine, but you have something. What's in front of your eyes, the sounds, the sensations in your body, everything. And you notice, it's all changing. Fuck. For me, it's working like I immediately go beyond conceptual thinking, immediately. Because it's too much. Yeah, my mind, my brain cannot process all of that. It like overflow immediately. Yeah, overflow. And then, and then I cannot even say whether it's permanence or impermanence or whatever. Yeah. For me, this, for each of us, different symptoms can work better or worse, related to how we are, our complexion, our elements, our individuality. It's all different. So for me, for example, this symptom works just fantastic. As soon as I started, totally beyond conceptual thinking, immediately, at once, just stunned. Okay, Dorothea, please. Thank you, Maggie.
I just want to share a funny practice that I did like as a child. That reminds me of this switch, like when there is a clear night and you have the moon, and you also have slow clouds that move. And then it gives you a different kind of feeling or presence if you look at the moon as if it's unmoving, then you see the clouds kind of going through. Or if you're meditating him, they go through you. But if you look at the clouds, when they're slow clouds, it's easy, then the moon is moving.
Yeah.
And so this is a little bit a similar kind of switch to practice that. And then, of course, now with Dzogchen practice, you can try that everything, both moon slowly and clouds a bit more faster, are moving through you. So it's a bit just a kind of similar thing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's I remember also in there is this Zen poetry, and I remember the whole verse, but the last words of the verse, like somebody was expressing an experience, sitting on the bridge and looking at the stream, at the river, and then says, "Look, it's the bridge which is floating, not the river." Yeah. So it's like this. And there is also a very interesting another Zen story. I think it was Nanchuan, the teacher called Nanchuan, and there were two monks in the monastery, and they had an argument. They were looking at the flag on the wind, and one of them was saying, it is the flag which is moving, and another was saying, "No, you stupid, it's the wind which is moving. No, it's the flag which is moving." And then Nanchuan was, yeah, somebody's, okay, now it's fine. Then Nanchuan was passing by, and they asked him, "Oh, teacher, please tell us what is moving, wind or the flag?" And he said, "Mind is moving." Okay. Let's continue. And now we deal a little bit with the space. This is a kind of a magic. Yeah. How you feel when I'm saying it's a magic? How you feel? Finally, something. Just exercises. Yeah, like magic. Yeah. It's a kind of magic.
Finally, true Dzogchen.
Yeah. Finally, true, real stuff. Real stuff for real men. Not all this biological, ecological, but real stuff. Okay. So it takes a bit of imagination. So we imagine that our mind goes into space above our head and then dissolves into space, and it's only space that remains. Just this. So the mind goes up above our head, moves. Whatever is there. We don't need to worry about chakras, channels, but just the mind goes through our head, above our head, and there it dissolves into space. And we just remain in space as a space. So if you get distracted and you're collapsing back into your body, then just do it again. Just move your mind through the crown of the head, move it up into the space. So feel like you're moving up into the space, and there, above your head, you dissolve in the space, and you remain in the space as the space. So when you dissolve in space, then you don't need any effort. You just remain in this contemplation, being dissolved in space, being a space. Okay. Did it work for you? Did you have an experience? Okay, yeah. And in Zoom, yeah, it worked for you. Good, good, good. And what is magic about this? Yeah. For me, magic is that if you just check the words that I said, they have no meaning. There's just a bunch of words, like, you know, like Deepak Chopra is talking about all these quantum things that make absolutely no sense, but people have vibrations, yeah? From physical point of view, it makes no sense. So these words, okay, you move your mind into the air above your head and then dissolve it into the space. It's nonsense. No, logically, it's absolutely nonsense. Yeah. But something happens. Yeah, and this is magic. Yeah. This magic is called oral transmission, yeah, for example. Yeah. This is the magic. Because this is something you cannot describe in words. No? This is not something that you can explain. But somehow it's like Chogyal Namkhai Norbu is always saying that You cannot explain it, but you can make people understand. Yeah? But explaining, no way. Making understand, yes. Yeah? But for this, we need to be in the context. Yeah? We need really to be in the context. If you're out of the context, then this sentence, okay, move your mind into the space above your head and let it dissolve in space. Absurd, yeah. And that's why it's a secret teaching. Yeah? This is the reason, one of the reasons it's a secret teaching, because it makes no sense out of context. Yeah? And when we disclose it, it's always out of context. Yeah. Yeah. So this is also the reason for the secrecy of this. Okay. Who wants to share your experience of nonsense? Yeah.
To me, it feels very like the experience is very soothing and very sane. It feels, brings some feeling of sanity, and also it feels like a resort for your mind.
Good, good.
With all the tensions.
Good, good, good. Next time you do yantra yoga, you try to do this first, and then in this state you do yantra yoga. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's changed the breathing pattern, so it became immediately a heat.
Okay, good.
So because you start feeling here, then it's kind of reflected from here.
Yeah. Good,
So
good,
a lot of
good,
feeling.
good. You see, it's a nonsensical words create a strong sensations in our body. Yeah. This is magic. Yeah. This is magic. I mean, sometimes words create, like, for example, someone is coming to you and saying like your dear person is dead. Yeah. And it creates very strong sensation, but it goes through intellect. It's different. Yeah. But this is something that goes beyond intellect. Yeah. This is magic. This is real magic. Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Dima. And even if maybe you couldn't hear what Dima was saying, but he was saying that he has the experience of heat when he has this upward movement. Yeah. And this is very concrete. This is something we cannot fake. Or you feel heat or you don't feel heat. This is something very concrete. Okay, Robert, please.
Yeah, it seems very similar to Namka Artit in a way. Because sometimes when I do a Namka Artit, something concrete happens that if there's moving clouds, just for an instant when I lose, not lose, but when mind dissolves, the clouds jerk to a stop, just briefly. Then when a sense of reference point comes back, they move again.
Right.
You can try it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's related to Namka Arte, of course. It's about space.
Yep.
It's about space. And this space, even in Namka Arte, we start mainly with visual space.
Yes.
But then it becomes the space of our mind.
Yes.
Then it's dissoluble with the space of our mind. Here in this practice, we start with the space of our mind, and then all other perceptions are integrated, and this then we discover is the same space, visual space and mental space and the dimension of the body and the dimension of the sound. This is all the same space. Yeah. And I usually give a metaphor of this metaphor. There is a very nice American joke. How do you split a fart into 5 portions, into 5 parts? A fart into 5 parts. How do you split it? Yeah, it's an engineering question. Yeah. And then the answer is you fart into a glove. In a glove. Glove.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a glove.
I see.
Yes. So, And then you have this fart into all 5 fingers, but there is also the center. And it looks like fingers are different and the center is different, but stinking inside each of them is exactly the same. So it's like one finger is visual, another finger is audio, another finger is smelling or sculpturing, and another is tasting, then another is bodily sensation, and the middle of this glove is mind, yeah? And it looks like different dimensions, but it's all the same, the stink, the flavor. This is what is called one flavor, you know, this expression. They will expel me from Mahamudra as well, yeah. I know. So basically, this is the space of primordial awareness. Yeah, the space of primordial awareness. This is not just emptiness like we have in Sutra, we have Dharma Dhatu, yeah? But we have, like in Anu Yoga, we have this explanation of Dhatu and Yeshe, yeah? So Dhatu and Jnana and Dhatu, Jnana Dhatu, like Yin and Yeshe, yeah? So this is not just dimension, but this is also the wisdom, the dimension of wisdom, the dimension of knowing, not of knowledge like intellectual knowledge, but the dimension of knowing, the dimension of being aware, the dimension of being present. There are no words that can really describe it, but there is a way that we can help others understand. So this is how we do, and we can start with visual like Namka Arte, or we can start with mental like doing shamatha practice, shine practice. But then we discover it's like, or we do with whom, yeah. Then through the sound we discover the dimension of sound, with whom or without whom, like this practice of Avalokiteshvara, who was listening to the sounds, yeah. Because in Suramgama Sutra, it's explained that Avalokiteshvara did this practice of listening to the sounds. Yeah, and this is how he attained the realization. Or we can do through bodily sensation, like generating bliss in all our body. And then we discover this bliss is everywhere, not just in the body, but all our existence is permeated by this bliss. Yeah. So there are different entrances, there are different gates like body and voice and mind and visual perception, but where we enter is always the same. Yeah, the essence is always the same. Okay. Okay, thank you, Robert. And
what's the last exercise one of is part of Semzins?
yes, this is from the 3rd group of Semzins explained by Longchenpa. I think this is the last Semzin, the very last Semzin, 21.
Do you think it's important where in what order you perform it? Like, for example, because we already did some exercises and then it comes out so effortlessly, or no matter what order you apply it?
Well, yes, of course. When we have there is a specific order and there is a reason, there is some logic there. Because also Longchenpa is saying, so if you didn't hear the Lila's question, the question is, do we need some special order for these Semzins? And I cannot say like shortly yes or no, but this is elaborate answer, because Longchenpa is saying, you do this, and after that you do that. So it's like a sequence. So he gives 3 sequences, 3 series of Semzins. So we can do things as a sequence, yeah? But we can also do them separately. We are free. See, we are free because we are dealing with our condition. Because maybe if you do it with a sequence, we never reach the 7th one. Yeah. Yeah, so there are many ways to do this. But of course, if you did 1 Semzin, 2nd Semzin, 3rd Semzins, we did, and then we do another one, and maybe we struggled with previous ones, but then this one, boom! Yeah, and maybe it's a really perfect fit, but also there is an effect of previous practice. And also for this reason, Chogyal Namkha Norbu was always saying, if you go to do personal retreat, Don't do just one practice. And the verse he was saying, well, that's stunning. He was saying, you suffocate. If you do just one practice, you suffocate. Yeah, it's really like this. Yeah, we are alternating and we are balancing instead of collapsing into one thing, say, oh, this is the most important thing that I need to do only that. No. That's why we do different kinds of the variety of practices we do. We are combining them together, and then it creates a perfect harmony. Yeah, and we adjust. It's not like maybe this time, this moment, we feel this practice fits us the best. But then it's changing. Maybe it's morning and evening. It's changing. Being hungry and being full. It's changing. Sleepy and rested well, it's changing. Young or old, changing. Okay. Probably if you change our gender, also maybe something is changing. I never tried, I mean, in this life, but I guess something is gonna to change. Also, if you were pedestrian and you then go become driver, it's changing. Yeah. Changing very much. So it means working with circumstances. Yeah. Okay. So the last thing for this retreat that we are going to do is we remember this dimension of sound that we could discover through home practice. And instead of one sound of hum, we do many sounds of the song of the Vajra. Still being in the sound, and this is also impermanence, this is all changing. Yeah, but there is something which does not change, does not depend upon the sound we are making. Yeah? Okay, and we see who is experiencing this sound. Yeah, who is this sound? Sa, sa, And now we dedicate the merits. Jaya, Jaya, Siddhi, Siddhi, Okay, so we finished our spontaneous retreat in Amsterdam, which was planned and organized, I think, in 10 days notice or something like this, which is not very Dutch way, not in general, not Western European way. But there were many obstacles. I didn't even know till the last moment if I could sneak in the country with all these new restrictions, with all these, I would say, 3G rule, 2G rule, 2G plus rule, and all these things. But still I could make it, and I'm very happy because we did not have retreats on site for a long time. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to do online because then we have more retreats with more teachers, like being together. But physically, it's also good. It has its own quality. Yeah, it has different quality. So it's always nice also to do physical retreats when we have this possibility. And I hope that next year already this holy Omicron is coming and saving us from alpha, beta, delta, and all other shit, you know. And we don't have to vaccinate the 75th time because it's definitely works. So from the 75th time, it definitely stops the epidemic, you know. Yeah, yeah. So. And I will people who are in the list of this retreat, if you are not yet on the list of my mailing list of my online teachings, I will add you. You can remove you anytime you like, but I will add you because maybe you don't know about this list. And very soon I'm planning online retreat, 2 sessions per day. I mean, morning session for Australia, evening session for